Adab, and thank you everyone for joining us here as we mark 10 years of the Karachi Biennale Trust. I'm excited to be here to talk about the Biennale and its evolution over these past few years. I'm joined here by an all-star panel, really. So I've got Amin Gulji here, who is, of course, the curator of the first Biennale, and we've got Noor Ahmed, who will be the curator of the next Biennale. So we're excited for that. And Bushra Hussain, of course, who is a founding trustee of the Karachi Biennale Trust. So Amin, Bushra, I want to start off with you. When the Karachi Biennale Trust was founded, what was your vision for the Biennale itself? And what did you hope that it would achieve as well?
Well, hello everybody. Thank you for being here. And thank you for having us on this panel at the Adab Festival. Karachi Biennale basically started with like-minded people who wanted to change the demographics of Karachi from what we had a monolithic view of what Karachi is, with all the issues, whether they were political, social, and we wanted to create a hub where we could bring in some freshness, and that was through contemporary art.
Right.
And that we created this platform, not knowing where it will last 10 years, but we dived into it, and having done that, we decided that it needed a place to bring out the creativity and art and have this intervention of art within the city with its people, and of course bring in the global aspect of it as well.
And for you, Amin?
Yeah, I was the bloody hell, Jesus. Okay, I was the first curator of the Biennale in 2017, and it was a really exciting moment at that time. The city was a bruised city, and did it deserve a Biennale? We all thought it did. Our thematic was witness, which I think was very apt for Karachi. Not only witness what is around us, but witness ourselves. And what my vision was, I had a dream team. None of us were paid for this, nor me, nor my team. I picked 3 millennials who had no experience in curating. I wanted fresh ideas and fresh energy. There was Sarah Paganwala, Humayun Maiman, and Zirak Ahmed. And they worked tirelessly with me. I'm a terrible, terrible, terrible person to work under. And they were fantastic. They had belief and energy. And although our budget was small, our dreams were enormous. And we managed to bring a show. We had about 180 artists, 60 from abroad. And when you're deciding on work for your city, I never wanted to condescend to my audience. Just because somebody does not have money does not make them stupid. So you wanted work that was challenging and relevant for this metropolis. And that's what we attempted to do.
And so to that point, how has the public reception of the Biennale evolved over the years? Have you felt that as well?
Look, every Biennale, and right now we have a new curator who's sitting to the left of me, Noor Ahmed. Every curator has their own vision. And that is really important. And what's important for the Karachi Biennale is that every iteration, a new voice comes. And right now we have a young voice, because we are a young country, and bringing a new perspective.
I'd like to also add that Karachi Biennale started as an experimentation of art within the city, and it has evolved over time. And having evolved over time, we've also engaged with a lot of community building, capacity building, local capacity building, by introducing artists, by bringing in curators and art critics. So to develop it as a platform, and over time, the public and the audiences have not only experienced Karachi Biennale as an exhibition, but a civic experience, and they look forward to that. And it's over the 10 years. We would be celebrating 10 years in June 2026, but we are kicking that off now. But it's something that even students and the public looks forward to. So like I said initially, that when we started it back in 2016, we weren't expecting that we would have another edition. It's just that it's evolved with the dedication of the people. Some of our trustees and founders who've given in so much of their volunteer time are sitting here: Almas, Atika, Shanaz, Farzana. So it's a labor of love. Karachi Biennale is not just an organization. It's an entity that it just keeps growing.
And we cannot forget to mention Niloufar Farouk.
Niloufar Farouk, who has
Because
been
without her energy, this Biennale would not have happened. That woman is made out of steel, man. I mean, we fought, I'll be honest with you. In 2017, me and Niloufar were locking horns. But my respect level for that woman is unbelievable.
Yes, absolutely.
A big hand for Niloufar Farouk.
Niloufar has basically steered this ship, and we have learned, we have been mentored by her. So now we are going to steer it for the next 10 and
Well,
more.
now I'm excited about Noor Ahmed.
Well, then let's come to her, because Noor, I know that the power of public exhibition is something you feel very, very strongly about. Could you speak a bit about that as well, please?
Yeah, thanks, Hasnan. And thank you, Other Festival, for having all of us. I think when it comes to sort of public exhibitions, throughout the work that I've been able to do over the last sort of decade and a half or so, I've been struck time and again by the power of contemporary art to be an incredibly inclusive medium to actually talk about some of the most pressing issues that we have today. So for KB27 in particular, we're focusing on the theme of the port as a point of entry and exit. Where we're talking about the idea of migration and displacement. This is an issue that affects all of us, particularly in a city like Karachi, where we have people from all over the country. And then we're talking about the land and the environment. And I think contemporary art, when you put contemporary art into the public, and it's not necessarily so tethered to an institution or the walls that surround it, it invites conversation. And I think that's why the format of a Biennale is so exciting to get to curate in a city, of 28 million, which sounds a bit ridiculous. But it's, like Amin said, we can't condescend to our audience. We need to make art more accessible through the Biennale, which we definitely want to do with the spaces that we are looking to activate. But I'm not so bothered about whether my exact intention as a curator or the artist's exact intention for their artwork translates to every individual who interacts with it, as long as we get some sort of an interaction from them.
Also, Noor picked a fantastic thematic, Kal, which means tomorrow or yesterday. It's so evocative for us as a city, Kal. And one thing I must add is that me and Noor have been seeing a lot of each other, a lot, because we are both co-curating a performance event which is going to happen next year at the Golgi Museum. It's called Aaj aur Kal, today, tomorrow, and yesterday. It's a performance event where we've had an open call. We've got entries from all over the country, and we're also inviting certain artists. It's a performance art show. All is welcome at the Golgi Museum.
Fantastic. So, but on the issue of theme, how do you as curators select what the theme should be? What's that process like?
So, I can talk a little bit about KB27's theme, as I mentioned, the idea of Kal. I was really interested in Kal, the word in Urdu, being quite cyclic, which means time is not as linear, right? Our idea of time is not as linear in South Asia. I was really interested from speaking to a lot of the advisors that you see around me about how we wanted the Biennale to really be a show where we could come together locally in Pakistan, but also internationally. This is an international event. At least 45% of the artists that are going to be shown in KB27 will be international artists. And so we really wanted KB27 to be an event that is our way of showing what we want tomorrow to look like. And that's sort of where tomorrow comes from. So it was really the idea of living in Karachi and really wanting something to work towards, but collectively work towards, collaboration really being the key here. And Amin, I would love to know a little bit about Witness and how you came about with Witness.
Well, Witnesses happened, right? And there's a catalog, and I mean, that's old history. That's very cull. And don't forget, Noor, cull is also yesterday, and that's what's so delicious about the thematic you chose. It's not only tomorrow, it's yesterday, you know, which makes it wonderful, because listening to Zara Nigar and history and thoughts and why are we where we are today is also fascinating.
Absolutely, and one of the most fascinating things about the Biennale or the locations. So talk a bit about how you choose the venues.
The venues, for my Biennale, we had 12 venues across the city. And the trustees did a wonderful job of organizing the venues for me. I personally did not go and, you know, of course I had a say in, yes, this would be fantastic. Oh my God, I can get that too. Yeah, I want it, I want it, I want it. Give it to me, baby, give it to me. You know, and we wanted, because it was the first Biennale, it had to be large. It had to engage my city. And this is a tough place to engage, because you have an audience that is also very well traveled. And you have a local audience. And what was wonderful is our main venue was the NGV school. And at that point, the NGV school was underfunded. There was plants spit on the walls. It was graying, it was decaying. And the whole idea for that was to bring energy into the school and help it raise money. And if you see the NGV school today, it's amazing what a transformation that has happened. But more than anything, for me, a decaying place was wonderful to show work in, because then we could have the run of the place. We could take rooms and rooms and rooms of the place. It was such a team effort of everybody to make it happen.
Another very important point, which is the hallmark of the Karachi Biennale, is that we also want to make our audience and the public rediscover spaces, which is really important. And then when we work with heritage spaces, with other institutions, there are places that a lot of people haven't been to. So taking on the conversation for what Amin did during the inaugural Biennale, we even had an Art Ki Talash activity where we made people go around the city and explore the city. And then some of them, they came back and said, "Humne to ji Liari to kam kabhi gaye hi nahi." Bhai, kyun nahi gaye? This is a way of going and finding out spaces, finding out that you have these historical spaces, existing, and we have forgotten them. So to revisit, and that's the whole ethos, is to revisit your city, try to make, become part of the city, own the city again. That's also what Karachi Biennale wants to do.
And I think for KB27, you will all have to stay tuned to see exactly what our sites are. I will not reveal them just yet, but I can tell you a little bit about how I'm thinking about space, because it's very much a conversation. Even this theme that I've told you about will definitely evolve with public engagement by the time the Biennale is open in January 2027. So I'm looking at 3 kinds of locations. The first, of course, I was looking at the area in Clifton by the water. I was looking at colonial homes in that area, but I was also looking at public spaces in that area and how public spaces have evolved, from sort of the 19th century to present day. I was also, my practice as a curator is I really dive deep into sort of archives and what's written about what I'm hoping to curate. And so I spent a lot of time at the Sindh Archives, at the British Library, and at the Qatar Digital Library, looking at maps of Karachi and how the city sort of was planned and designed and expanded. And so again and again, I kept looking at, MT Khan Road, II Chandrika Road, and M.A. Jinnah Road as these three main arteries of the city that sort of led to the port. And so that's an area of deep interest for KB27. And then lastly, I'm really hoping to engage with academic institutions and universities that have been so important to this city and to garnering the minds of tomorrow. And so I'm hoping to partner with 2 universities and for them also to be Karachi Biennale locations.
And you know what's hot? It's not just sort of the chattering class discovering the city. It's the Awam itself, because the city's teeming with people. So when you have a public space and it's free, you have people going to it that may not see work. You have an audience there. Awam aati hai, log dekhte hain, aur wo bahut mazedar cheez hai ji.
But from a logistical standpoint, just how tough is it to pull off something like this?
I mean, you can start off and then I'll.
Yeah, like I said, my poor assistant curators. I mean, I feel for them, and I also have to mention that in the last 6 months, Adam Fahim Majid came on board as a curatorial member, and Zarmeena Shah came on board as a curatorial advisor. And man, did everybody work hard. We were stressed because, again, this is a tinderbox. And I wanted to show work that is challenging. I did not want to compromise on my vision. But it is a very careful game of where you place certain kinds of work. Certain kinds of work can be placed in certain locations and not in other locations. It's a balancing act. And just the logistics of it were difficult. Bushra, you take it up.
So Karachi Biennale has a multifaceted process of putting up the exhibition. It has a lot of when we work with the with the city government. So we do have a lot of issues in terms of trying to secure permissions, and it takes a while. It's time consuming. But having said that, we have been quite lucky, and we have very strong relationships and partnerships with the city government and the Sindh Cultural Department, who have provided us access to the public parks. We've shown at Bagh Ibn Qasim twice in KB19 and then in 2024. We've had access to the Karachi Zoological Gardens, Frere Hall, and also when we work with the Sindh Cultural Department under their supervision, we have the Sambara Art Gallery, and that has also attracted a new space and a lot of footfall. So every year we also try to find new spaces to work within.
It's also the fact of putting up the work. It's not just getting the space. It's installing the show itself, the artwork that will go in that space. And that is a Herculean task. And I had my workshop. Basically, usually biennales have millions of dollars of funding. You have installers, you have teams, you have mappers. And we didn't have any of that. We just had 3 millennials, my 4 workshop guys, and a Bismillah. And that's how we did it. And it was just non-stop.
I would also like to add here, and I would like to, praise the art students who come and work with us.
Yes.
All the graduates from the various universities, Karachi University, Indus Valley, KSA. I think as graduates, we don't have a system where you can teach them curatorial studies, but when they work with us, they learn how to do production work, logistics, curatorial, and I think we definitely deliver a mean biennale.
And Noor, for you, now that you are the curator, are there any particular challenges now that you didn't expect as such? Could you speak a bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think I can talk a little bit about it from in the terms of the journey, right? So, in 2019, the second Karachi Biennale that was curated by Mohammad Zishan, that's how I was introduced to Karachi Biennale. So I was assistant curator for KB19, working closely with him. And a lot of these trustees that Bushra and Amin mentioned, that's how I got to know them, being one of the team. So now when I look at Maham and Manoj and Manur, Abiha, who's been working closely with me, Hafsa Moin, who's not here but is part of my team, it's really wonderful to actually see how with every problem that we face in Karachi, there is another really passionate, really excited, energetic young person who actually wants to make it happen. And that's really, my audience. So I feel like that demographic between sort of 14 to 35, if I can make this exciting for them, then I think we've been successful. Everybody else, I'm like, I hope you enjoy it too. And I think that's why sort of we have such a young and energetic team to make us realize the project. In terms of sort of how, I mean, it's like, just you wait, the show we're curating.
I'm 60.
In terms of sort of, how you have to bring a structure to the Biennale. So this show that Amin and I are curating that will be open to the public at the Gulji Museum on the 13th of February 2026, and you're all invited. Please do attend. We started going about it with an open call because we really wanted to engage young art graduates from Pakistan. And then once that was out into the public, we were also directly approaching senior artists, Pakistani artists, but also international artists who excel in performance. And the idea for that is, of course, to have a diverse and sort of a balanced show, but to really have it in Karachi, to center Karachi as a space where this conversation is taking place. And so that's sort of how we're framing it and kind of trying to circumvent or work with some of the logistical issues that, sometimes seem to become a lot louder than they need to be.
And was there some specific way in which you wanted this upcoming Biennale to be different from the previous ones?
Yeah, I think in terms of, if I talk a little bit about the previous four Biennales, I think I'm in a really, I think I'm really lucky that I'm the fifth curator that Karachi Biennale has brought on board. And I think, the task that you had in 2017 was just, it must have been quite daunting. So that happened. And then I think KB17 really set a tone for the Biennale, and it was international Biennales coming back to Pakistan. For KB19 happened, which meant that KB17 was in fact a Biennale, because it happened 2 years later. And then despite COVID, Faisal Anwar curated KB22, and then Wahida Baloch in KB24. So I think the vision for KB27 really is to engage the city, to make it big, to also include lots of younger practices. A lot of my colleagues who I have sort of grown up with and worked with, since returning to Pakistan in 2014. And I really want it to be a truly inclusive Biennale. I think there's a lot of conversation about how we categorize contemporary art. I'm more interested in public engagement and practices that do that. Yeah.
I think also we, for 27 and if I'm speaking from an institutional point of view, we also want to, strengthen our partnerships, our collaborations, because we have a lot of collaborations with, offshore organizations, and our artists have, visited projects in England and, in other parts of the country and around the world. So, we want to create those partnerships, maintain those partnerships, and then also really give a little more, creativity for the artists to experiment more within the social fabric of Karachi, even though it's a very challenging, city. And, you give them more space.
I've been working with Noor now, and Noor is a very interesting character. Very, very interesting character. She's 31 years old, which makes 13. No, it's interesting, and I'm excited about that. I'm really excited because every curator brings their own vision, brings their personality into the Biennale. But working with Noor, I see her intellectual depth and her work ethic. You know, and that's really important. And her openness of spirit, which is also very important. So I'm just really looking forward to, you know, the 2027.
We all are. And unfortunately, that's all we have time for right now. But we will have some documentary screenings now. So, Maham, if you could please come up and introduce those. Thank you to all three of you, and thank you to you too.
Thank you all. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, everyone, and thank you, Hasnain.
Thank you.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining us. Please don't mind my nose. I've had the viral these days. But anyway, I just want to showcase, I'm so proud of all my students and all the schools that took part in making the educational program this year successful. So we have Karachi Biennale's educational program happening every year. And this time, 5 amazing schools, Civilizations Public School,